It hasn't updated on your
Hasn't
end. That's
updated?
all. No, I'll fix that up.
Good evening and welcome to Dog Talk. I'm Dan Camilleri.
And I'm Laura McKillop. We'd like to start by thanking Duro for their ongoing support in bringing you our fortnightly podcast. Tonight we're fortunate enough to be speaking with John Tuddenham. How are you going, Tuddy?
Good, thank you. Yep, very well.
That's great, mate. What did you get up to today, John?
What did I do? I went to the sheep market this morning, the Ballarat sale yards, and then come home and worked a couple of dogs this afternoon. Yep, and then come home and got the tea, got ready for you people then.
Beautiful, mate. Whereabouts is home?
That little place called Ross's Creek.
Where are you located,
It's
mate?
about
Ross's Creek?
15 kilometres out of Ballarat. South of Ballarat, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Have you been there all your life or you've travelled around a little bit?
86 years.
Oh, so you're nearly a local.
I'm nearly a local. I've got a few more years yet to go and I'll get there. Yeah. Yeah.
So does that make, did you grow up on that property as well or just in the area?
Yeah, just my parents' farm where we were born is only about half a kilometre. But we've been in this, where we live now, 40 years, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, wow. You had your family there as well, mate? You want to tell us a bit about your family?
Oh, yeah, we got 5 children. There's 3 boys and 2 girls, and they're all growing up and leaving me for dead now. Yeah. Got their own family. Yeah. Yeah, there was 9 of us.
Do they have a passion
in
for
my family? No, none of them are interested in dogs at all.
Do they have a passion? Not interested.
Not interested in sheep dogs anyway. They've got passions, I suppose, and they're different manners there. Yeah, but yeah.
So growing up in the area, mate, do you want to tell us a little bit?
Get out and earn their own money.
Yep.
Sorry, I missed that.
No, you're right. I was going to say, do you want to tell us a little bit about growing up out there, mate?
Yep. Well, I left school when I was 14-year-old. They showed me my father's sheep and I became a shearer. Yep. For a fair few years. And then later on in years, then I became a stock agent. Yep. And worked for a company for about 25 years as a stock agent and still do a bit of that. Yep. And loved every minute of it. Yep.
And were dogs always in your life or was that something that come a bit later on?
Yeah. Always had sheep dogs with me. Yep. In my job and before then, always had a dog. Yep. But not as many as I got now.
Yeah. There's just a bit of a lag. So from when we're talking to you, I'm probably picking up that you're getting it on your end as well. So we'll just got to work with that for a little bit and it might fix up in time.
Yeah. It's not connecting.
No. So you said you're an agent, mate. Like what were you doing there? Was it sheep and cattle or were you doing other stuff as well while working for agent?
Sheep, cattle, and pigs. Yeah. They were the main animals to handle. Yeah. You'd have big weeks. Yeah.
And being an agent, did you have to do a lot of the work yourself back then, or were you relying on the farmers to do a bit of the work for you?
Oh no, you had to do all the work. help him with his stock when they're ready to sell, and perhaps draft them and get them ready and all that the day before the sale. Yep. Sometimes you'll be there all day, do full day before the sales. Yep. At different people. Yep. At your clients. Yep.
And your beautiful wife is from the same area as well?
Yeah, she came from Port Campbell. Yep. That's down on the sea there. Yep. But she came to Ballarat. Met her there. Yep. Yep.
Wasn't a farmer's daughter that you happened to be out on a property one day at all, was she?
No, she was a nurse. Her parents were on her. Yep. Yeah.
And your dogs, have you always had border collies?
Yeah. Especially later years when I was doing my stock work, I had a Kelpie in the early days, but then I changed to collie. But once I started dog trialing in the competition, I had border collies, and they're the number one in it. Yep.
Yeah. And what differences did you notice between the two? Like, what, other than the competition, was there anything that really led you more towards the collies?
Yeah, collies are much more steadier. Kelpie's fairly high degree. I've got nothing against the Kelpie, get me wrong. The Kelpie's a bit too busy, and when you go into a competition, you only got 3 sheep, and the Kelpies will stir them up a bit, where it's steadier and calmer. Yep.
Were there any particular lines you like to stick with early on?
Yeah. When I first started, I started with a line called Marlow. He was a fella from Echuca who bred Marlow dogs, and I started with them a few years ago, and then gradually I got half my own bloodline as the years went by. Yeah.
And what was it about those
Good
lines that you
bloodline
liked?
They probably just couldn't get the steadiness that you need to be in the sheepdog trialing. You need something with a bit of steadiness, and these ones, the Marlow dogs, were a little bit too busy. Yeah. They were good, but they were too busy, and I gradually changed my bloodline. Yep. For the fellow by the name of Joe Gerritsen, which you've had a chat to him before. Yep. He had the lady.
What was it about?
Female. Sorry?
What was it about Joe's dogs that appealed to you?
Oh, they're much more calmer, and their conformation, their instinct was completely different to what I was breeding. Yep. And once I saw them, I thought, no, this is it. And I never looked back from there on anyway. Yep. Always had dogs they were competitive all the time. Yep. And still are. Yep.
What do you like to see in a dog? What kind of dog suits you?
I like to see good conformation, big head. They've got a big head, and they've got to be your mate. You want them to be, your temperament. It's very important, and they want to be with you all the time. And then when you ask them to do something, they've got to be able to do it. Yeah. And if they like that, they will. Yeah. Easier to train. Yeah.
Yep. What about those dogs that didn't they weren't as friendly? Like, did you find you didn't get on with them as well?
Yes, I did. If they weren't as friendly, you had to be on them all the time, working. You had to be giving them orders all the time, or telling them what to do and so forth. You made them more than a cook when you had to do that. Whereas these dogs have got their natural ability. They're much, much easier to train and to work. Yeah.
And what do you like about breeding your own dogs?
Well, I like it because once you've got to the bloodlines that you wanted or to the parents that you wanted, they're the ones that you can stick by. And I like to have it. And the female, I like to see her with, as I said before, with a good conformation, good temperament and so forth. And you've got that in your female side, you can generally use any
Do
sort
you
of male
think
dog.
that
You'll avoid.
Yep. Do you think that your bitch is a bit more important than your dog, mate?
Yeah, no doubt. 90% of your breeding is the bitch or the female. Yep. If you've got the right bitch, it generally goes back to your pups in a lot of ways. Yeah.
What makes that bitch the right one though? Is there any criteria you like them to sort of meet, or I really like a bitch that does X, Y, and Z before you breed from it?
Yep. Yeah, I don't believe in breeding on them when they're too young. They've got to prove themselves first, and to do that, once in competition, once they've shown enough ability, and then they've got, as I said before, the conformation, temperament, and you'll see them work sheep, their style and so forth with ability. Well, then it makes your mouth water, and you think, oh, we can breed from her now. Yeah. To see them 3 or 4 years old before I do that. Yeah. I might be old fashioned.
And what do you like to see?
Yeah.
That's beautiful, mate. What do you like to see from a dog to complement one of your bitches?
Well, yeah, I like to see, as I said before, the natural ability in the dog as well. Yep. And that means that, when you get them out it's all right working a flock of sheep. If they make a mistake, competition, you have a dog that doesn't make too many mistakes. And if he does, you can get it out of him. But if they're making a lot, well, they're not worth breeding from, in my opinion, anyway. Yep. That's what I see in them anyway.
You're very exposed when you're very exposed when you're standing out the peg by yourself, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. And competition, and you'll get 3 sheep like that. It involves 3 sheep, and they've been running in the flock probably of say 300 or 400 all the time, and then to put 3 out on their own, it's an ordeal for the sheep as well as the dog, Yeah. And the handler, yeah.
Absolutely. You've mentioned trialing a couple of times tonight already. What is it about trialing that you enjoy?
I've always been fairly competitive, in sport and whatever, and I like to trialing because you can met so many friends, and made so many friends over the years, and travelled a lot like Victoria, New South Wales, South Australia, a lot of that. In our younger days, we travelled around a lot to sheepdog trials, and you'd be there for 3 or 4 days, and naturally you'd meet people and so forth. But I met a fella from Bredbow in South Australia, in New South Wales, buddy, 40 years ago, I suppose, and we're still mates and still have a lot of chats about dogs and so forth. And I tell him he's no good, so yeah, and that makes the competition, I feel. Yeah.
Sounds like there's some good stories between the two of you.
there's been an odd steery and an odd glass of water between us. Yep, we've had a bit of a chat over it. Yeah.
That's lovely.
We still speak
I've
to
heard
one
you've
another.
helped start out I've
I missed
heard
that,
you've
sorry.
helped start out quite a number of people. I was saying I've heard you've helped start out quite a number of people as well.
Yeah, love doing it. Yep, get a lot of people have been trialing or started trialing, and they come here. We spend a day or a couple of days, whatever. They might stay with us overnight, and yep. Anything I've learnt, I like the people. It's no good when I'm gone. If I'm here and I can help them a bit, well, there's no doubt I've helped a few, and over the last few years anyway. But Ryan is he's a great student. We started off probably 2 years ago, mightn't be that far apart, and this year he won the Victorian Championship. So I was pretty rapt for him. I tell you what, I was more excited than what he was when he won it. Yeah, just to see him, and he took everything on board that I showed him. Yeah,
That would have to be pretty rewarding.
yeah, it was great reward. Yeah, you can. It's like those dogs. You're going to get a lot of people that'll listen to you for a while, and then after a while they'll know how to do it. Well, yeah. I think you got a bit of an idea how to do it, and so if they stop and listen, and you're prepared to show them, well, and I have helped a lot of people, and they're doing very well actually. Yeah.
You mentioned Ryan with the Victorian there. I believe you've represented yourself a few times.
Yeah, I have. 5 times I represented Victoria. Yeah. Never made the Australian team though. Wasn't good enough. Missed out by 1 point 1 year. Yeah. But you might as well be 100 away.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, luck, yeah.
It's still a pretty good achievement just to get there, though, too. As tough as it would have been on the day.
Yeah. Yes, it was just a bit stiff to not get it. The dog done the wrong thing and cost me the points. But anyway, that's all history now, that part of it. Yeah. Look, they have the Australian Supreme. That's just
Sorry, I cut you off then. What was that?
And they had the Australian Supreme just recently, and that they were from all over Australia, Tasmania, yep, and New Zealand, and they had 700 dogs at it. Yep.
Yes, and it was freezing cold.
I wasn't good in competition.
Really rainy.
Too good for me.
Terrible weather.
It was, yeah. Judged Marines.
Those...
Yeah, and you had.
Oh wow! Yep.
Yep.
And those.
Pretty happy about that.
5 times you represent.
What is it about judging that you enjoy?
I suppose you got to see every dog that was running, and you learned. I was lucky that I was taught to judge by the older generation, and it stuck by me, and I like watching the dogs and talk to the people and so forth. But when you're judging, you've got to be fair and honest, and that's the way I put myself to be. Yeah. And I suppose you do one, you get asked the second time, you must have thought, well, it doesn't do too bad. Yep. Yeah.
If you keep getting asked back, you must be doing something
It's
right, mate.
Yeah, must have. Yeah, it might have been the winner, might have the year before, or the time before, might have asked me, mightn't he? Yeah.
You spoke about mentoring trialists. How about mentoring judges. Is that something you also enjoy?
Yep. I've helped a lot of judges, especially starting off. There's a lot now, even just starting. They work for a while and they come and talk to you and give them the ideas of what has to happen, or what they've got to do, and they take it on board, go with you. They'll walk around with you while you're judging or something like that, and you can show them a few points. And I can't do it forever, and them fellas or girls, they've got a couple of girls doing it now, so which is great.
Do you think there's something that stands out from being a handy trialer to being a good judge?
I think that once you start to judge and learn to judge, I think it helps you. Pardon me. It helps you to work your dogs. You learn so much of different people. When you're outside the fence watching, if you might watch it for a few minutes and then you get distracted and talk to someone else and you're like, oh, hell, what happened to that dog, But when you're judging, you got to watch every move and whatever, and it makes you concentrate on dogs, and that certainly helps you in your own trialing as well. Yep.
And for someone starting out in trialing, do you have any tips of what they should have on their dog before they get out there, or some ways that you'd encourage them to prepare?
Yeah, I try to do different commands. Yeah, they work their dog, my place or whatever. I've got to sort of learn their commands, and a lot of times if they're only just starting a young dog, I try and train them to use my commands that I've used over the years, and I think it helps them because they're using too many words. Instead of saying one word, they're using 10, and they get themselves get lost. The dog gets lost. They don't know what's going on. So the less you can say to your dog, the better off you are. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
Totally agree. It becomes a win-well pretty quickly, doesn't it?
It does. Yep. And they give them to, I call it, I suppose, a bit old-fashioned, but you brainwash them to a certain degree, and they don't understand what you're about then. Yeah. So you've got to let them have their natural ability. That's what they're bred for, to be a working dog. Yeah.
Absolutely. Mate, is there a couple of dogs that have stood out for you, for a young fella like yourself?
Yeah, a few, I suppose. The best dog earlier on was, and then there was another, a great trier, a great competitor from Seymour and Kilmore, I should say, and I saw his dog work one time, only had just started it, and I said to him, gee, it's a good dog, that, isn't it? And he said, yeah. And then during the week, he rang me up and he said, you like that dog? And I said, oh, I did. He said, you better come and get it. Yeah. And he represented Victoria 4 times, I think. Yeah. His name was Mac.
Wow.
Yeah. He was a long-haired border collie. Yeah. Wow. A beautiful dog. Yeah. He'd talk to you, I think. I couldn't have to me. And then later on, I had a dog called Roo. Yeah. And he was very good. I think he was a dog of the year in Victoria 3 times, I think. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But yeah, it's been great to me, I can assure you. Yeah, it's been a great hobby.
You mentioned a couple of dogs there that were successful numerous times. What do you think the secret or the key was to their success and your own?
Yeah. Well, as I said earlier on, they had their natural ability and and they could do the job without me having to tell them. They knew where to be what to be, and I didn't have to talk to them hardly a lot of the time. They were sort of showing me how to get on. That's what you have to have. Yeah, in your pocket all the time. That's how the real, I suppose you'd call them disciplined dogs, I suppose. Yeah. I don't like to
Real
give them too
friendly
much
types.
discipline. I like to see them do a bit. Yep, friendly. Yep. And the mother of I've got a couple of young dogs there now, and the mother of them she's the most friendly dog and naturality in it, or yeah, she's as good as you'd get. Yeah. But she's getting a bit like me now, getting a bit long in the tooth.
Still young, mate. Still young.
Running around, yeah.
We see sheep being handled and sold in different ways, and with the introduction of buggies and bikes. What are the changes you've seen in the dogs based on the way we handle sheep?
Yeah, there's no doubt they've changed it. A lot of the farmers would use dogs on them, and a lot of the old trialers, they all had their own dogs and worked farm dogs. You know, they were farm dogs, plus they were competition dogs. But today you don't see a lot of dogs on the farms. You'll see them with four-wheel dogs, motorbikes, and, charging around. And then we get sheep into competition. They've never seen a dog, a lot of them, and they're pretty hard to handle, I can assure you, if they haven't seen a dog, it makes it pretty hard. Yeah. But that's what happens today. Things have changed. That's with progression, I suppose, isn't it?
Absolutely. Do you think our dogs are probably a little bit lacking because of that?
Yes, I do. Yeah, as I said earlier, when I first started, the farmers had their dogs. They'd work on the farm during the week, and then at the weekend they'd go to a trial, like a competition, and they could change them just overnight type of thing. Yeah, but you don't see that today. Yeah, they're all trained to do trialing, and if they're doing any farm work, they've got other dogs to do that. Yeah, but one dogs, they were all rounders. That's the word, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you see that changing, or do you think that might even get worse to a degree?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll get worse, but it won't change back to it was then, say 10 or 15 years ago. Yeah. You'll see. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of women today taking on trialing, and there's a lot of them in the competition, and a lot of them don't have properties, to get to work their dogs. They live in perhaps the cities or something like that, and only got a backyard, and pretty hard to get them out, and the dog's been locked up all the week and go out and try and work sheep and that. And they also, to be successful at it, you've got to have a little bit of stock sense yourself, and you can help the dog in a lot of ways if you've got your stock sense. And I suppose I was lucky. I've been around stock all my life, and you learn how to read them or what they're going to do or so forth. Yeah, it's a big help. It's pretty hard to, these people with their dogs they live in the city, and the dogs never seen any work much in competition, Yeah.
Absolutely. How do you think we preserve those dogs with that bit of work in them still?
Well, I know how I do. I just keep that bloodline, but you'll see that today, and they'll see, it works pretty well. Yeah, you're right, and then they'll breed from it, and you're getting that. They'll breed from that again, and then they get ordinary dogs. They're just plain. They're not them to get earlier on. Then they haven't got the natural ability in them, and then blames the sheep or something else. Never blames the dog, for not having a run or something like that. So it goes back to the one thing.
You mentioned stockmanship before, and you also mentioned like recently the Supreme, and I noticed in the Supreme where they have the drive section and where you can move. Do you think that helps trialing and really helps people that might not have access to stock all the time with that little bit of stockmanship?
Yep, 100% it does. Yep, it learns them where to be, and learns them to drive sheep and have to drive. Yeah. And had to train dogs to do a little bit, like learn to drive with you. Yeah, and percent improvement, but you don't see a lot of it, today because it's half Australia and half New Zealand, that course, and it's a little bit different. Yeah, but it does help. There's no doubt about that. It helps a lot of people, and talk to a lot of people, and they all like it. All like the set out of the course and the competition that way. Yeah. And I don't mind.
That was called a Trans-Tasman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you reckon a good way to help new people coming in and new trialers is to see more Trans-Tasman courses?
Yeah, I don't know that'll help them when they're just beginning. I think you've got to get out for someone who's just beginning. You've got to get out on the ground or something like that, and walk with them and show them where they should have their dog, and teach them to be able to learn to read stock, and then they can place their dog where it should be to stop them from running. And it's, as I said earlier on, you can work them over, say 200 or 300. The dog makes a mistake, he can get away with it. But in the competition, if they make a mistake, it either costs you points, or they've crossed, or they're bit, or something like that, and you get disqualified. So you've got to have your dog spot on. And I like to walk with these people on around a practice course and so forth, and help them that way. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They make as many mistakes as the dog does for a while, and then they realise then, oh, gee, I done that, didn't I? Yeah. That's what I can see. Yeah.
Have you judged Trans-Tasman trials as well?
Yeah, not a lot. Only done 2 or 3 of them. I didn't like judging them much. You got to be pretty well good with the pencil, keeping the score and that. And I was getting a bit old for it. I thought, no, I won't learn to judge that. Yeah. Leave that to the younger ones. Yeah.
You got to be good at maths too, don't you?
Yeah, you got to be spot on. They had instead of losing a point, you can lose half a point and things like that. And then you got to have good arithmetic and be quick on it. So probably if it had been around 20 years ago, I might have done it. But anyway, I'll let the young ones do that.
So I'm assuming you're using a clicker.
Yeah. So for someone like Daniel here who hasn't. For someone like Daniel here who hasn't done the Trans-Tasman before, I'm sure we've got a lot of listeners too that aren't too sure what we're talking about. Do you want to explain the difference of the judging, like how it's sectionalised and stuff?
Yeah. And half of it is an Australian course, and that most people can, judge an Australian way. And once you get into the drive part, half of it is New Zealand, and that's when the drive in New Zealand begins. And you've got to be able to walk behind your sheep, not allowed to get in front of them, and the dog's not to get in front. And you've got to be able to be in a position when you're judging that and working it to make sure that your dog doesn't get ahead or you don't get ahead. And if they stop walking, you can stop without being pointed. Yeah, that's only a small part of it, but that's roughly what it is. Yeah, they have points for each section. Yeah.
And do you think that
make a mistake at one section, you get to the next part, you get the
Sorry, mate. Keep going.
Again, there, yeah, to a certain degree, but it's a good course. Yeah. So
It does sound complicated.
yeah, it is a little bit, yeah, but once you get used to it, it's okay. Yeah, I don't mind working it, I can assure you. Yeah. And it's not hard to train your dogs to do it, and I suppose that comes back to experience, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Do you think that format of trialing is better for the dogs that we should be looking at breeding?
Yep. No doubt. Yeah, we've got to, that's again what I said earlier on. Got to be able to do it naturally. Yeah. Yeah. Ahead all the time, well, it's going to cost you a lot of points very quickly. Yeah. Yeah.
And do you still get out on the trial ground and have a crack yourself?
Yep. Yep. No doubt. Can't keep me away from it. No, I just.
How many dogs have you got
have
in your team at the moment?
5 working and got 2 pups. Yeah. No, at one time I'd have 6 or 7, but 5 plenty now. Nearly wears me out working 5 in a competition. Yeah. But I just won that a month ago. Yeah. With one of my young dogs.
That's a pretty big.
And they let the sheep out at 400.
Well done.
Yeah, let the sheep out at 400 metres away. Yeah. You had to send your dog at 400 metres. You done it well, but anyway.
Wow.
I've got sky too much. You've got to be lucky.
Do you want to?
You make your own luck. You do sometimes.
Yeah, I say to you, good luck, and I say when I'm going up, I'll say to you, good luck, and I'll say, yeah, I need a bucket full. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about a couple of your dogs?
Sorry, I'll have to again. I missed.
Sorry, mate.
Lost
Do
you,
you want
I
to tell us a little bit about a couple? No, that's okay. Do you want to tell us a little bit about a couple of the dogs you have there at the moment?
Yeah, I've got 2 young dogs. They're only, I bred them. They're by a New Zealand dog, and not a heading dog, but a lady here, I saw it working the male dog, and he was from New Zealand, bred over there, and she's over here working with a contractor, and I saw the dog work, and it was inside and outside, and I thought, gee, what a great dog that is. And I felt I have got a very good bitch here, and I rang the lady, and here I was lucky enough to get a service to him, and produced 2 young dogs I've got here. They're only 2-year-old, and they're both won every competition they've been in so far. Yeah, so it's sort of make me feel young now. Yeah. They're very well, beautiful, big long dogs and big heads, and yeah, and want to be in your pocket all the time. Yeah, beautiful nature. Yeah. But I don't know how long I'll keep going for, but I suppose. Sorry?
What about a couple of your older dogs that you're still trialing?
I've got one there called Warramara. That's Joe Garris, and he's Paddy. He's about 9-year-old, and yeah, I think he was the dog of the year in Victoria 3 or 4 times, and yeah, still a very capable dog at his age. Yeah, I've got another one there called Peter. He's old, but he's very Only 3. Anyone? Yeah. At the moment.
And been to lots of Supremes and many trials over the year, have you competed in all the states then?
Yep. I didn't go to Queensland, but judged 2 in Tasmania and worked in Tasmania 1 year, and then I judged 2 in Victoria. Yeah, worked in. Worked in it. Yeah, I haven't been over to represent Victoria next year. You'd have to go to Western. I'm sort of backing off a little bit. It's a big drive to go to WA, isn't it?
You never know.
Across the Nullarbor.
It is, but you might be in that car going across next year. You never know.
We might have to leave that to the younger. I'd have to think about it if I was qualified, wouldn't I? Yeah.
Definitely. That trip across the Nullarbor.
But anyway, I
might
suppose
be a long one, but worth it.
It'd be worth it, I suppose, if it was good enough to represent, wouldn't it? Yeah. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I might be able.
Have
in a
you
wheelchair by then.
Any other format of trial? You'll be right.
Oh,
Have you ever tried another format of trialing, like utility or cattle?
no. I done a bit of yard trial, done a couple of yard trials, and I thought, no, this is no good to me. Yeah. All he was doing was undoing gates and putting sheep in the yard and closing them up and that. I said anyone can work them in the yards, but get them out on the oval or out in the paddock, it doesn't matter, isn't it? Yeah. But I got against yard
definitely
trials.
when it all goes
wrong.
to crap.
I mean, it's great competition.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of. Yeah, you got to be on the ball in that, and you got to do it all properly. Yeah, and shut and open gates. Yeah, I can do that here. Yeah.
No one can dispute that 3-sheep trialing is definitely an art, and timing and technique is everything.
Yeah, there's no doubt whatsoever. There's a lot of technique in it, and you hear people say, "Oh, my dog would do that," and that'd be farmers perhaps, and you say, "Oh, go home and get it." Yeah, but they're not very keen to do that, and. Yeah, it looks easy looking over the fence, to a certain degree, but there's a lot of work in, training a pup from, say, 9 to 10 months old to around 15 months. It takes you about probably 12 months to get a pup, get him going up to good enough to trial and so forth. Yeah, a lot of hours in it. Yeah, and then you've got to be able to understand a pup. You get a pup and he probably 12 months and think, oh, yeah, he might be all right. And then another couple of months, he's no good and all that. Not good enough for what you want, yeah. And that happens with everybody, I'll bet you, yeah. But everyone's got a different idea.
If Tuddy today...
training and... Sorry?
Absolutely. If Tuddy today could go back 50 years, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh, my first advice would be to get the right dog right from the word go. Yeah, and I suppose 50 years ago I'd learned how to work stock a little bit, but now you'd want a dog straight away, and I know what type of dog I'd want before I went out now. Yeah, when I started, I just have the only hackers, I suppose you'd call them. Yeah. But now you know what sort of a dog you got. Well, yeah. And that, if 50 years ago, if I knew that, wouldn't be here today, would I? I'd be the Australian champion or whatever.
Have a few ribbons on the wall, you reckon?
Yeah, I got a couple of them here, yeah. But, yeah, you would have a lot, wouldn't you? Yeah. But no, I said before, we've enjoyed it. enjoyed every minute of it and still enjoy it. Yeah. With these ones coming along and just learning about it. And yeah. Most weekends I'm got 3 or 4 coming and so forth and help. Yeah. Before Ryan has been outstanding. Yeah.
So you're still getting a few people coming out to home and.
Yep. Come from Gippsland and comes with us, Yep. All the time. Mary says, "Where are you?" We're out in the paddock working. That's all we do is work dogs. Yeah.
Actually, that's a pretty important.
But I have seen.
Sorry, I was just going to say that's a pretty important point. You mentioned Mary there. How has she gone supporting you over all these years? Like we talk about being away, but having someone at home to look after things and supporting us is a big deal, yeah?
Yeah, she loved it. She loved it all. Yeah. As I said earlier, we've made some wonderful friends over the years, and she looks forward to it, and she knows it's coming up, and hook the caravan on, and away we go. Yeah. And I met a fella in 40 years ago in Narracourt, South Australia. He's a Scotsman. Came out to Australia and he was managing a big property there. We met him. We went over to the trial and we met him. And we've been very, very good mates ever since. Yeah. And a real top fella. Yeah. Them type of people has made our trialing. Yeah. And as I said, we've met a lot of good people. Yeah. Had a lot of fun.
Would it be fair to say that as much as you've put into trialling, you've taken a lot away as well?
Yeah, I have taken a lot away. Yeah, I have. Yeah. It'd be fair to say that, yep. Yeah, put a lot of time back into the Victorian Association for a lot of years. Yeah. But if I got something out of it, I decided I should put something back, and I'd done my best. Yeah. Yeah. Was made a life member of the Victorian Association. Yeah.
Hats off to yourself.
I was pretty proud of it. Yeah. Yeah.
And is that something you like to coach in the people you talk, like Ryan, for example? Is that something that you'd like to distill back in the people you coach, is to put something back into the sport?
Yes, I love doing it. Yeah. And I feel as though I'm doing something when you see them go out and in the competition and see them ribbon or something like that. It's a great achievement. I can assure you of that. You know that damn well that I don't profess and be a champion or anything like that, but be able to hand down a little bit in. When I first started, I can remember it was yesterday. The person I got the pup off, I got him up to about 12 months old, and I wasn't very good at it. And I said to him one day, "Oh, this dog is not doing this and that. What do I do?" And the only thing they would say to you, "Keep at it, John. You'll get him." And that stuck in my mind for the last fair few years, I can assure you. Yeah. And I thought, no, I don't want to be like that. If I can help someone and they can go out and beat me and get a ribbon and so forth, I'll be as much thrilled as what they are. Yeah. I love doing it. Yeah.
That's really cool, mate. I love that you're putting that time into people.
Yeah, and they reward us, with their care and their love that they express to us. We get a lot out of it. I can assure you of that. Yeah, I love the sport. Yeah, it's a big challenge to go and get a pup or breed a pup and then get a ribbon with it. It's pretty good. Yeah. one of these young ones I
Are
just
you
bred now.
patient with your pup?
He's just a bit. Gotta be patient. You can't train him to be a champion overnight. You gotta be patient. Pardon me. I can remember, you'd get a dog and he'd be done pretty well at be putting him onto the trial ground or something like that. But no, it doesn't work that way. You've got to let him mature a little bit. Yep. And you've got to be patient. Yep. Patience is a virtue at times. Yep.
Which is more difficult, being patient with people you're training or the pups you're training?
Mainly the people, I would say. Yeah. Just to get them to be able to understand what they've got to do. Yeah. To be successful, get the people to understand. They can generally get the dog to do it all right. But as I said before, if people don't quite understand how to work stock or how to handle stock, well, they are very, very, very difficult at times. And then you have to spend a lot more time with them. Yeah. That, yeah. Get out, as I could standing there telling them, you go out and train a bit of a course I've got set up here and walk with them, and show them where they should have their dog and so forth. And yeah, and a lot of times they'll do that today, and then you get next time they come, they're back to where they were. Forget, So you've got to be. It's repetition. You've got to keep following what you learned. Yeah. Sometimes they forget.
Absolutely. You sound,
but still, it's
sounds like you're a mentor to a lot of people. Did you have a mentor yourself?
Yeah. Myself? Oh no, I used to sit on the fence on my own and watch all them when I first started. Watch how the good competitors or any of the competitors, how they worked their dogs and what they done and so forth. And we had a great old gentleman here, and he lived close by, and he won every trial I think in Australia, and he was that good. He won the Queen's Trophy when the Queen was out here, and he would help a lot of people. And then a lot would ask him, but he didn't very keen to tell you. But I was lucky enough to be able to become friends with him, and he showed me a lot of things, how to work a dog and so forth. And I still do it as much as I can. Yeah, you had to listen.
There wouldn't have been the access to training schools and information like there is now.
Nah, never knew. Yeah. Never knew what a school was in them days. A school was at your place. You had it on your own. Yeah. No one, they weren't very keen to help you a lot much. Yeah.
You didn't just jump on
Changed
Google,
a bit
mate?
now. Yeah. Just wrong. Yeah.
Mate,
don't be hard.
Is there anyone
Just
you'd like to see? Sorry, mate. Is there anyone you'd like to see us have a chat with on Dog Talk as well?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, a lot of people around now that you can have a chat to, but sensible about it. Some of them, you think they're telling you the right story, but you can see in their mind that they're not. You got to be very careful. But I got nothing to hide. I just, any of the people that come here, if I can, whatever I can hand down to them, well, I do. Yeah. One time they'd say, as I said earlier on, keep at it, John. You'll get there. Yeah. But sometimes a little bit of a tip now and then, it's a big help, isn't it? In anything.
Mate, before we get going tonight, is there one tip you'd like to share?
Yeah. One was I suppose what Mary and I got out of it, the friendship that we've got with a lot of people, and to be honest about it, and be competitive. And that's what I suppose that's about the tip that I'd give. Yeah, yeah, something we've loved. Yeah,
That's all right.
and I suppose I don't know how much longer I can do it, but I'll keep trying. Yeah.
Tuddy, thank you very much for your time tonight, mate. We've really appreciated it. And I believe you still got plenty to offer the sport. So thank you.
Thank you, and I hope I done it good enough for you. Thank you.
You've done fantastic, mate. And you have a great night. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.